Hello, everybody. Good evening. It is Monday night. It is October 19th, and welcome to Speak Life. This is the second in our edition of bringing life consciously and with awareness into our lives. So hopefully that makes sense. So we've been doing, so I'm going to give you guys just a moment to pop on with me, let some people know that this is actually happening. There is a football game going on right now. Poor planning on my part. There was not a Monday night football game scheduled when I first committed to this date and this time. So it's the end of the football game. So I'm imagining that a bunch of you are going to be catching this perhaps maybe on the replay, if there is a replay. So I am just trying some new platforms, trying to figure out the best way or the best space to be communicating with people and coming on live and things like that. So I originally thought maybe I would do this as a Zoom, but I've been looking at some new things. And so we're going to do this on YouTube. So this is live on YouTube right now. So if you are here and you have found me live on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm in the process of moving over a lot of my content into this particular area. So right now there's just a little bit in here, but if you hit subscribe, then you will be able to find me every time I go live here in this platform. You'll also be able to get a lot of the content that I am putting into this page moving forward. So hopefully you will take advantage of that. So let me just see where we are at here. See who we've got popping on. Pretty sure I can see some comments. So if you are popping on live with me, if you would go ahead and just let me know where you're tuning in from and what you're doing tonight and whether or not you're a football fan. Because if you are a football fan and you're here live with me, thank you very much. It's the end of the Bills Kansas City game. It's like last 10 minutes of the fourth quarter. So it's a big sacrifice if you're coming here and hanging out with me. So thank you for doing that. All right. So I'm just going to give you one more minute. We just had, a good football dinner of pizza and wings. And I just washed my hands and 'tis the season. So I got to moisturize. This is my favorite moisturizer. It is so good. I used to really struggle when the heat would start coming on in the house, and now I don't anymore because this is the bomb. So best stuff ever. All right. So what I wanted to talk to you guys tonight about, if you are in my Wellness Warriors group, if you're a midlife mama or a wellness warrior and you are in that private Facebook group for women. If you're not, I encourage you to. It is, it's a lot of fun. We're 140, 150 women in there, and we're just hanging out and we're encouraging one another, sharing with one another, and there's a lot going on. So if you are not in that group, I encourage you to get in that group. But one of the things that's happening in that group right now is there is a monthly challenge. So I have weekly challenges and then I have a monthly challenge. So every week it's something small. It can be something small like drinking 8 glasses of water, or I haven't done that yet, but I mean, something small that you can do in one day. But then there's always a monthly challenge that you can do. And it usually lasts anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks out of there. And it's not something that's going to take a huge amount of your time in any given week. It is just something that is going to hopefully bring some value into your life. And so this month, there is a challenge called Mindful Matters. And October is really a month where I am concentrating quite a bit on our mindfulness, quite a bit on our thoughts, that the what we are saying to ourselves in our subconscious, and how we are relating to others. And I just think it's very important that we are mindful of the things that we are doing and saying. And so that challenge is helping you to look at the 7 main areas of your life based on ULA, which is what I coach with. I'm one of the ULA team members, and we really teach people how to balance the 7 areas of their life. So that's like faith, fitness, friends, your field, which is, what you do, your finances, your family, all of that, all those F's, and just basically keeping a balance. Okay. So the Mindful Matters Challenge in the Facebook group there was really just something, there's a tracker, and it's dealing with a few of those areas each week and speaking life into them. So tonight I wanted to just talk about the next level of that, how extremely important and valuable it is to be aware of the words that we are saying, both to ourselves, over ourselves, and then again to others out in the world. So perhaps you remember that childhood rhyme, sticks and stones may break my bones, right? I think we were all taught that, and not just in America. I mean, children all over the world have been taught this from a very early age. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me, or words will never hurt me, or, there's a few variations of the ending of that, but sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And that's what we were told. And we would say that all the time. And people, it was a way for children to deal with verbal abuse and bullying, right? Someone would call you a name. People used to call me Carrie Fairy, the big fat 4-eyed blueberry. Okay. And I would go, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Meanwhile, they did hurt me a lot. And so I kind of feel like I got a little duped by that. I'm not just saying the Carrie Fairy, big fat blueberry. I'm just talking about the things that are said to us and how damaging they can be, especially if they are said to you by somebody that you respect or look up to, especially if they are words that cause you to pivot, change direction, do something different, and go in a direction you're not comfortable with, or do something you wouldn't have done otherwise or didn't want to do, and maybe deep down inside know that is wrong. But those words have kind of pushed you to make those decisions, and they're very powerful. Very powerful. There's another saying that says, a tongue has no bones, but it can certainly break a heart. So while your tongue may not have bones, it can certainly break a heart. It can break a spirit. It can change a life. So the power that is hidden within each and every one of us is the power to heal with our words, to restore with our words, to build up with our words rather than tear down. And I'm speaking particularly to the women who catch this video when I say that, ladies, we need to be so much more mindful of the way that we speak to our sisters. I don't know if you can hear that yelling, but something big just happened in the game. All right. So the way that we speak to our sisters. Okay. And when I say sisters, I mean all of us women collectively, right? We are so good at comparing ourselves to others and also tearing each other down. We are so good about talking about one another, when what we need to do is stop speaking about one another, speak to one another, and speak life, right? Even simple things that sound like compliments. For example, have you ever heard a woman say, "Oh my gosh, you're so pretty. I hate you." I mean, I think it's supposed to be a compliment, but that woman's self-conscious heard, "I hate you." And hate is a very powerful word. So that person hears hate. Subconscious says you are hated. Now your subconscious believes that you are not lovable. Do you see how that happens? And some people argue, they may say, my subconscious doesn't have that much power. My subconscious doesn't have that much control. But I want you to really consider that it does. So for example, another example, if you are constantly telling people that you're ugly, that you are fat, that you are out of shape, your subconscious is going to believe that. So if you say that often enough and you tell other people that and you tell yourself that, when you wake up in the morning and you go into the bathroom and you look in the mirror, you see ugly, you see fat, you see out of shape. So then what happens when you finally decide, hey, now it's time? Hopefully you don't wait till January 1st, but you say, now is the time. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to get what I need to do. So you start working on getting healthy. and you start working on getting in shape. And your subconscious is like, no, 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 no. You don't want to do that. Don't get healthy. Don't get in shape. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because your subconscious has been told by you that you're out of shape. That's its comfort zone. It's comfortable being out of shape because it's been told it's been out of shape for so long. And so now your subconscious is fighting with you just as much as you are trying. I'm trying to get this comment in here. I know there's one coming and I can't see it. So excuse me while I get all this. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're good. So your subconscious, I just want you to be thinking about that. That's why they say that you can listen to affirmations. I have the Think Up app, for example, and I listen to the Think Up app as I'm going to sleep. And so it is my voice speaking affirmation over me as I drift off to sleep and while I am sleeping. My subconscious is still hearing that. Some people think that's a little weird, but it is so true. And I am a living, breathing testimony of it because 4 years ago, I was ready to run away from everything. I have 2 great kids and a wonderful husband. I had a good job and I was ready to leave it all and exit because I was so depressed and I was so down on myself. I just couldn't get past it. So I began working on mindset right around that time, which led me to this path of wellness, of well-being, of life coaching, of reaching out to people across our country and hopefully even now across the globe to help change the way that we speak, the way that we view ourselves, and what we are doing, where we are going. Now, if you know me from my ministry circles, you understand why I'm wearing an acorn. It's not just because it's fall and it's my favorite season. This acorn is something very valuable and very important to me. In fact, I'm going to add a drop of hope oil to it because I haven't done that today. And there is a very powerful correlation between how essential oils affect the limbic system through the olfactory glands and can really help to make some change. I love the smell of hope. It's very earthy and it's really beautiful. And I like that this is so close to my heart. I want my heart to always have hope. I want to be someone who lives that way, lives in hope. But the acorn stands for nuts, N-U-T-S. Okay. And I've spent the last 10 years traveling around the country telling audiences of many sizes that they're nuts. I go in front of thousands of people and I say, hello, everybody. My name is Carrie, and I'm here to tell you that you're nuts. Okay. So what NUTS stands for, however, is naturally unique and truly spectacular. You are naturally unique and truly spectacular, exactly the way that you are right now in this moment. If you can learn to love yourself the way you are right now, even if there's things that you would like to change to make better, I encourage that 100%. You don't have to convince yourself that you don't need to grow and improve. You just need to love yourself where you are so that yourself is ready and thinks it can succeed. Does that make sense? So you need to think that you can succeed. Words are very, very powerful. As parents, we were, at least when my kids were small, we were bombarded with this whole, you have to protect your children's self-esteem. And you have to just constantly, when they do something wrong, rather than punishing them or yelling at them, you need to redirect them with positive affirmation. Now, you can tell by my attitude how I felt about that. Like, I do think it is important that we build up our children. And there are people who are probably going to argue with me when they hear this. But I also think it is equally important that we discipline. And I think that somewhere around this was some years ago when my kids were smaller, but there was somewhere in there where parents stopped disciplining and became their children's greatest cheerleaders in all circumstances, including when they were wrong and they were in error and they needed to be really made aware. Okay. So it can be confusing if a kid has done something that is clearly wrong and you're affirming them. I think that can be confusing. I think that you can, discipline and make sure they know how loved they are at the same time. That you don't have to love their action, but you just love them, right? I do think that's important. But I'm just not one who's willing to say, when something wrong has been done, that you don't have to own up to that and you don't have to face the consequences. So That's just me. You can agree with me or not agree with me. That's okay. But I do think it's becoming a little bit more even now. I think we're coming out of that. But the power of our subconscious is so massive. We actually have physical feelings associated with it. So when we are trying to get our subconscious, when we are trying to move in a forward direction and our subconscious is fighting it because of all of it that it's been told for years sometimes, or all of our life, there can be a physical pain involved with that, not just emotional, but a physical pain that you can feel as you are trying to break free from this oppression that we have over ourselves because of words that have been spoken to us or over us or by us for our entire life. So it's breaking that and moving into a place of freedom. It's one of the things that I work with my clients all the time. When we are doing our life coaching, we are talking about finding balance in those 7 areas. It is really very much about how to break the cycle of negativity, especially in the words that we have said over ourselves. It's there are definitely tools that you can use to help you to break this cycle and help you to get to the next step. And that is very, very important. As you know, I mean, I use essential oils all the time. This one in particular, Believe, was very, very powerful for me when I had a big goal that I wanted last year. I was putting Believe oil on my palm every day, and I was reading one of my favorite scripture verses or quoting one of my favorite scripture verses over myself. Okay. And I believe that scripture holds a lot of promises for us. So if faith is not your thing, then, you can discount this if you'd like. But for me and for other believers, we take Philippians very seriously when we read the words, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Okay. So for 6 months straight, I put a drop of Believe oil on the palm of my hand, and I would say, I believe I can do all things through him who strengthens me. I believe I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Now, during this 6 months, I had a goal, a business goal that I was trying to achieve. And the end result of achieving this goal was winning a trip to Hawaii. So every day I was using this, and I kind of started it not because I thought it would help me reach my goal, but because I was working on speaking more life into me. And I was wanted to get over my limiting beliefs. So Believe oil, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. And I followed that with another oil and the words, this was abundance oil, that God created me for greatness. I can do all things through him who strengthens me, and God created me for greatness. I started my every day with those 2 oils and those 2 mantras. Okay. At the end of that 6 months, I won that trip to Hawaii. Well, it was a 4-month competition, but 6 months later, they announced that I actually won the trip to Hawaii. Troy and I got to go in January before the pandemic hit. Thank God. I would have been horrified if it happened after. But we got to go to Hawaii, and it was like the trip of a lifetime. It was just incredible. And I really believe that had I not changed my mindset, I would have limited myself and never been able to reach my goal. I probably wouldn't have been able to get there. So I do think it's very powerful. And I would love for everyone to be more aware. So I have a couple of questions for you. I wrote them down so I would stay on task and not keep you too long tonight. Number 1, what is your number 1 limiting belief that you have about yourself? Okay. Just the one limiting belief that you have about yourself. What do you think would happen if you were to change that limiting belief? If you were to flip it upside down, completely annihilate it, change it, in fact, to bring about the opposite of it into your life. So now your limiting becomes limitless. What would change in your life? Where would you be right now if that were reality? So that's my first question. And I really think it's important that everyone is able to answer that for themselves. The second thing is, can you think of a time when you were hurt by somebody's words, something that they said to you? Was there a time in your life when you were hurt by another's words, almost probably to the point of stopping you from whatever it was that you were doing? Somebody told you that you would never be good enough, or that you wouldn't succeed at this one thing, or you didn't have what it took, what it takes to get there. Anything like that, right? And did that stop you from getting what it was that you were going for, or getting to where you wanted to be, or doing what you wanted to do? And if you can think of an instance where that was the case, have you since forgiven them? Have you since released that and allowed it to go out of your life? Or have you continued to allow it to limit you? It's very important that we are aware of those instances or those things that have happened in our life, both to us and then us to others. Has there been a time, question number 3, has there been a time when you have said something to hurt someone else, or to limit someone else, or to stop someone else? Perhaps it's a family member. Perhaps it's your spouse that you didn't believe in. Perhaps it's your child that you stopped with your words from doing something that really limited them in the future, limiting them from their future, I guess, or being successful, or celebrating a win, or whatever it is, by our words. My son says I do this to him all the time, so I have to become much more aware. I think I'm parenting. He thinks I'm raining on his parade, and I think there's probably a little truth in both. So being aware of that. And why I think that this is so important is because there is just as much power in the words "I'm sorry" and "I forgive you" as in any other weapon that there is out there in the world. Forgiveness, the words "I'm sorry" and "I forgive you" are extremely powerful, and they can turn everything around and make the biggest difference, or they can keep you down. How many times do we hear of somebody who overcame the words that were spoken over them their whole life? Some of the most successful people, the most famous actors or actresses or singers, or, entrepreneurs, or whatever the case may be. When you hear their backstory, you hear about what a rough start they had. And, I had an abusive father, or I had, someone who just didn't believe in me, who was constantly, stabbing, and they were able to overcome, which is wonderful. But there is still a shadow, I guess, or a cloud hanging over that person until they're able to go back and forgive. So it's super, super important that we're able to do that. So now, if we learn to master our words and hone them like a superhero power, we'll be able to do incredible things. Absolutely incredible things. I'm going to give you one last example in our last moments together. I wanted to share with you the power, the reason why I said speak life, and that there's the power that's hidden within, is because I was the recipient of the power of words when I was just a teenager. I think it was 16, maybe 17 years old. And I was in a very dark place. And thankfully, as far as I know, neither of my children have ever visited the dark place that I found myself in when I was a junior in high school. I was so depressed and so despondent. And part of it was a chemical imbalance. Depression is a disease. And I was on medication. I was in counseling. But a part of it, too, was I was just looking around. I can still feel the way that I felt back then when I looked around at the world and thought, I don't want to be part of this world. People are so mean. I get choked up. Even today, I don't feel like that little girl anymore, but I do still feel the disappointment in the world around me over the way that we treat each other, the way that humans treat one another. It is heartbreaking to me. Because remember, the tongue may not have bones, but it has the ability to break a heart. And I remember waking up one morning and saying to God, if you're real, because I was questioning it all, is God real or not real? And I said, God, if you are real, you need to send somebody into my life today to say something nice. That's it. I just needed to hear nice. Nobody was particularly awful to me. I was popular. I had this great boyfriend. I was captain of the basketball team, at lead in the school play. I mean, the whole 9 yards. Those those people. You walked the halls with them back when you were in high school. Maybe it was you when you were back in high school. But what nobody really saw was what was happening inside of me and the words that I spoke to myself on a regular basis about how ugly I was and how there was someone else that was prettier, someone else that was better at everything that I wanted to do. Someone else could do better. I've since learned that it really doesn't matter if there's somebody. There will always be somebody that can do better. That's irrelevant. I just have to be the best steward of my own gifts, right? So I said to God, if you are there and if you love me, you will send someone to say something nice to me. If not, and I go the whole school day and no one says anything nice, when I come home today while my brother is at football practice and my parents are at work, I'm going to take my life. I had a plan, I had a way, I had the means, and I was pretty sure it was going to happen because I knew that there were many days that I could go through an entire day and never hear a nice word from anybody. And even if they weren't horrible words directed personally to me, I watched them like arrows, like weapons, just tearing down everybody around me by the way that we treated each other in the hallways of our schools. So I went to school. I spent the whole day paying very close attention, wondering if this would be the last day I would walk these halls. It was kind of like one of those things. I spoke it out loud. I actually said it out loud. If you love me, you will send someone to say something nice. If you don't, and I don't hear anything nice, nobody says anything nice to me, I'm going to kill myself. And because I said it, my subconscious was going to make sure it happened. I say that with a smile, but I am very like, this is my word. And I said I was doing it. And so I'm going to follow through. And I was ready, as ready as you can be, right? So I went through the whole day and nobody said anything nice, including my best friends. And we got to the end of the day and there was a special assembly in our school. And some of you have heard this story before. But what happened was I was sitting way up. I mean, there were hundreds of us in the auditorium, and I was sitting way at the top of the bleachers. And these actors came, and they were from other places around the country and around the world. And there was this one actress. Her name was Sue. She was from New Zealand, and she did this skit. And there was a skit that they did, or a play that they did, and it was about suicide. And I was like, wow, that's a coincidence. The day that I'm going to commit suicide, they come and do a play about suicide. But I didn't think it had anything to do with me because it wasn't my deal. My deal was someone had to say something nice. Words. I knew they were powerful. I knew it was important. So I waited. The skit came and went and ended, and the whole program ended. It was time to leave. And as I was leaving with hundreds of my fellow classmates and students at the school, I was just walking down the bleachers, and Sue came up to me, this actress from New Zealand who I'd never met before. And she introduced herself and she said, hi, my name is Sue. She had a great accent. And she said, I just wanted to tell you that I saw you sitting up there in the bleachers. And I just think you have beautiful hair. Your hair is so pretty. That's all. Have a great day. And she walked away. And I was like, what? I remember thinking a couple of things. Number one, God, was that you? Did you send Sue to say something nice to me? And then number two, I thought, God, was there no one from the United States of America that could say something nice to me? Instead, Sue had to come from New Zealand to say something nice to me on the day that I needed to hear it. I tell you that story with a little bit of a chuckle because I didn't want to die, but I had lost hope. I had lost hope that the world was good and that I had anything to offer it. So when I wear an acorn that stands for me being naturally unique and truly spectacular, and I put hope essential oil on it, and which sits close to my heart, it is because I have to tell myself sometimes, every day, that there is hope, that the world is good, that people are good, that I am worthy, that I am capable, that I am enough, and that I can do all things through him who strengthens me. All things. So, guys, if you could take anything from this talk tonight, and we are in our last minute, right? If you can take anything from this talk tonight, I know that if you would learn to speak kindness, love, support, hope, dreams, confidence into your life, strength into your life. First you, it will pour into you and then out to others. It just automatically will. Fill it up with positive affirmation. So let's start with a couple of practical tips. Write down 3 affirmations, 3 things about yourself that you can speak at least for the rest of this month, if not through the whole month of gratitude of November, just to see how you feel and if it makes a difference. So these can be things like, I am strong, I am capable, I am enough, I am a child of God, I am created for greatness, I am grateful that I have the ability to change. I am grateful that I can pursue health and wellness. I'm grateful for every person that comes. So grateful statements, positive statements. And if you say, you know, if you say to yourself, if you say to me, Carrie, I'm not going to say I am capable when I have failed every time I've tried, whatever it is that you were thinking about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be an absolute truth happening right now. It has to be how you see yourself and how you want your subconscious to perceive yourself, so that when you are ready to make that step to be healthy, to be thin, to be whatever, to change, if anything, your subconscious is like, yeah, I am thin. I am capable. I am all of these things, right? So hopefully that makes sense. And if you have any questions about that, just reach out. We can talk about that. We can talk more about the effects that this can have in your life. So don't not do that. Please do that. Okay. So then, yeah. Be willing to say, I'm sorry. I mean, that was pretty obvious, right? Be willing to say, I'm sorry. Everybody's like spamming me all of a sudden. Be willing to say, I'm sorry, and be willing to just as easily say, I forgive you. Be willing to say, I'm sorry, and be willing to say, I forgive you. Those are 2 words that are going to bring a lot of life, a lot of healing into your life if you are able to do that on a regular basis. The catch with that one, though, is those 2 steps right there. The catch with that last one is you have to start with yourself. What is it that you need to forgive yourself for? What is it that you need to be able to say, hey, self, I'm really sorry. I let you down. And then self gets to say, I forgive you. We got this, right? You're probably going to think, Carrie, are you schizophrenic? No, I'm not. I just know that it is important to have these conversations with yourself. Okay? Which brings me to my last point. It is much more powerful when you can speak these words to yourself out loud, so your subconscious hears your own voice, and even looking in a mirror so your eyes can speak to your eyes, the windows to your soul, right? When your eyes look deeply into your own eyes and they hear truth and life and forgiveness and hope and joy and the possibilities being spoken over you, into you, it can't help but make a change in you. Then, as you gain strength, please share that with those around you. Start with your family, adding the grace, adding the forgiveness, adding the affirmations, then move on to your workplace, your school, wherever it is, into your community, into your neighbors. Find ways to engage and speak life. So those are my tips. That is the beginning, really. Speak Life is, it's an exercise and it's a discipline. It is something that I work with. So if anyone needs help in this category, please don't hesitate to reach out. It's what I'm here for. Any of the ladies who are tuning in here tonight, if you either watching this live or catching the replay, if you would like to be a part of the Wellness Warriors group or the Midlife Mamas, just go ahead and let me know that. The group is called Midlife Mamas and Wellness Warriors. So if you want to just search that on Facebook and you would like to join, all you need to do is let me know. And you just have to answer a couple questions and I can approve you and let you right in. Or you can just let me know that you'd like an invite. So I would love to have you in there. We do a lot of different things. Like tomorrow, it's toxic topics, and I'm going to be in Alden interviewing a holistic nutritionist at Wellness in the Village. So you're going to meet Stephanie Jenko. She's fantastic. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be downtown at the Elmwood Village in 10,000 Villages. We're going to meet Jen Kylo. We're going to interview her and see about all the incredible things that she is up to there and the good that is doing. A thing that was started by one woman, actually, and now we have artisans. They have artisans all over the world. So it is so in line with my company, Young Living, and what we are able to do. It's absolutely fantastic. And to that end, if anyone wants to explore how there can be an oil called release and how it can help you release, or an oil called joy and how it can make you feel joy, these are handy because I use them every day. I am an aroma release coach, and so I can help you to utilize essential oils to help to release. And if you need oils, let me know. If you've got them already, whatever. It's no pressure. Use them or don't use them, but it's super interesting, the science behind it and how it works. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time, for your attention, and really for being willing to say, I'm sorry, be willing to forgive, and be willing to be your best self. Because remember, you are nuts. So you just have to go out in the world and be nuts. All right. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe so you can catch the next time I'm on live. And we'll see you soon. Go out and be nuts.